Right, today we've got 5 things that are actually going on, and I promise you, only one of them is getting the attention it deserves. Let's get into it. We're starting with the biggest story in British politics that the BBC would rather you didn't spend too long thinking about. The UK government is hiding documents. Not just delaying them, not just being a bit slow, actively blocking Parliament from seeing files about Peter Mandelson, the man who was arrested earlier this year on suspicion of misconduct in public office, over his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. Now, if you've lost track of this scandal, here's the short version. Starmer appointed Mandelson as Britain's ambassador to Washington. Turned out Mandelson had been denied security clearance by UK security vetting. The government overrode that. Then the Epstein files dropped and it emerged Mandelson had potentially been sharing market-sensitive information with a convicted paedophile. He got sacked as ambassador. Then he got arrested, then released on bail. And now, Parliament wants to see the full vetting files. They want to know who knew what, and when. And the Cabinet Office is saying, no, wait until after recess, and even then, it'll be heavily redacted. Here's the part that should make your blood boil. It's not just opposition MPs saying this is wrong. The Intelligence and Security Committee, the cross-party body that oversees the security services, has publicly warned that documents are being withheld. They're saying redactions are being applied far too broadly. The ISC is basically the most authoritative body in Parliament on matters like this, and they're calling out the government's own cover-up. Darren Jones, the Chief Secretary to the PM, was asked about this in Parliament. His answer: the papers will come out after recess. Trust us. Nobody should be trusting them. This is a story that goes to the heart of who runs this country and who they answer to. And it deserves to be front page every single day until those documents are released in full. Right, moving on. And this one is mad. Keir Starmer is the Prime Minister. He won a stonking majority less than 2 years ago. And right now, more than 95 of his own Labour MPs are publicly calling for him to resign, or at the very least, to set a date for when he'll go. Wes Streeting, who was the Health Secretary, by the way, not some backbench nobody, quit the Cabinet on the 14th of May. Said he'd lost confidence in Starmer. Said staying would be dishonourable. That's a Cabinet Minister, resigned, publicly attacking his own PM. 4 junior ministers went the same week. Jess Phillips, Miata Farnborough, Alex Davies-Jones, Zubir Ahmed, all gone. And Starmer, still there, says he'll stand in a leadership contest if one happens. That is remarkable confidence, or remarkable stubbornness, depending on how you look at it. The numbers right now: 159 Labour MPs publicly backing Starmer, 97 wanting him out. And 147 who haven't said a word publicly. Those 147 are the ones to watch. Because if the undecided start moving against him, it's over. The backdrop to all of this is the May local elections. Labour didn't just lose, they got obliterated. Nearly 1,500 council seats gone. Which brings me to story 3. Nigel Farage's Reform UK won 1,454 council seats in a single night. Let me just let that land for a second. A party that had 5 MPs in Westminster 18 months ago. 5, just won over 1,400 council seats across England. Took control of multiple local authorities. And political analysts, not reform supporters, academic political scientists, are saying that if those results were replicated nationally, Reform could be the single largest party at the next general election. Farage could be Prime Minister. That's where we are. Now, I'm not here to tell you whether that's good or bad. What I am here to tell you is that something seismic is happening in British politics and the mainstream media has been almost desperately trying to play it down. This isn't a protest vote. This isn't a blip. John Curtice, the man who basically invented modern British polling, said British electoral politics has become highly fragmented. That's polite academic language for the two-party system is breaking apart and nobody quite knows what comes next. Labour voters are going to reform. Tory voters are going to reform. And nobody in the Westminster bubble seems to have a clue how to stop it. Story number 4. And this one matters even if you've been completely ignoring it, which I suspect most people have. The World Health Organization declared a public health emergency of international concern on the 17th of May. That's the highest level of international alarm they can raise. It's the same designation they used for COVID. This time it's Ebola Bundibugyo strain, DRC and Uganda. 600 suspected cases, 139 suspected deaths. And here's the bit that should get your attention: there are no approved vaccines or treatments for this specific strain. Unlike the Ebola strains we've dealt with before, where we actually have some tools, this one, we're essentially starting from scratch. Now, should you be panicking? No. The European Centre for Disease Prevention says the risk to people in the UK is currently very low. But let's remember, that's what people said about a lot of things at the start of 2020. The difference now is we know these things can move fast, and we know the global health infrastructure is under strain. The fact that this isn't getting wall-to-wall coverage tells you everything about media priorities. A global health emergency was declared 6 days ago. Where's the coverage? Where's the daily briefing? Where are the graphs? Keep an eye on this one. I'll be updating you as it develops. Right, Story 5. And this one genuinely makes me angry. Since April 2026, Labour has been cutting the benefits of 2.25 million disabled people. The health element of universal credit, the support that goes to people who are too ill or too disabled to work, has been frozen for existing claimants. That's an average loss of £500 a year for people who cannot work. And for anyone who becomes newly disabled after April this year, their health support is cut nearly in half, from £97 a week to £50 a week. The Trussell Trust, the food bank charity, says this will drive disabled people into food banks. Disability Rights UK says 440,000 disabled households will be pushed into severe hardship by 2029. And Amnesty International, not some fringe group, Amnesty, has publicly said this is a violation of human rights. Here's what makes it worse. 49 Labour MPs voted against their own government on this. There was a rebellion, but the bill passed anyway. And you know why this story has basically disappeared. Because the Mandelson Epstein drama has swallowed every front page and every TV bulletin. While disabled people quietly lose hundreds of pounds a year, nobody in the mainstream media is holding the government's feet to the fire on it. This is a Labour government cutting benefits from some of the most vulnerable people in the country. And it's barely registering. Let's change that. Alright, that is your 5 for today. Mandelson files being buried. Starmer clinging on. Reforms political earthquake. A global Ebola emergency nobody's talking about. And Labour quietly cutting disabled people's benefits while the media looks the other way. Drop a comment below on which story you think is being most underreported. Like the video if this is the kind of content you want to see more of. And I'll see you tomorrow.